Hello and welcome to another episode of Tours and Tactics. Today we're continuing on from the last episode and we are going to be assaulting the mighty Valley Keep in the Eternal Battlegrounds. Now right away I'm going to point out something that I actually found pretty clever that was done during this attack. If you look, they're actually setting up siege equipment on the wall of Langer Gulch. Now the siege equipment can reach the outer walls of Valley Keep, meaning that if you're attacking Valley Keep, then if you have those outside keeps, you can set up siege weapons on them, take down the walls and possibly the gates, depending on your angle and how much power you put into the attack, can take out the various walls and destructible environments of the Valley Keep, while keeping your expensive and powerful siege weapons out of the way of possible enemy counterattack. I think that's kind of awesome. That's just me, but I thought it was pretty clever. So, now as they're taking down the gates here, you can see the damage done to it already, and we've got fire on us. Our first destination that we head towards is the front gate. Heading up the bridge there, battling the enemy in a nice big melee. I think there's guards, enemy troops, all kinds of things mixed in there. Big melees can be particularly fun, especially if you have a whole group of people. Now remember, this is stemming from the previous attacks. So we're pretty well supplied and we're pretty well grouped. We haven't really failed or had to retreat so that the group's broken up. One of the things I noticed happening often in World vs. World is you would try to attack something, and if you failed, the group would break up, people would go off in some direction, people would go off in another direction, all kinds of chaos like that. If you're trying to bring a group together, and I think this will be easier once commanders become more prevalent in the game, then groups will be a lot more easily coordinated than they were when it's just kind of a gaggle. So as you can see, we are taking out the cannon, I believe. Taking out all the defenses on the upper wall areas. Taking out both cannons. And that's what you're going to want to really do whenever you're attacking, especially the bigger keeps, which are more likely to have the better walls and better defenses. Although at this time, while we were distracting the cannons, and the cannons were hopefully, if you're on the defense, since that's not something we've really talked about all that often, which we will in a future episode, is maintaining the defense of the keep. So you're pretty much just going to want to primarily focus fire on any siege engines first. And as you can see, we're building a ram on the door here. I believe we're building 2 rams on the gate. What the cannons should be firing at, because I don't think they're really going to kill anybody on the ground outside, which is something they may want to work on as far as balancing. But they need to be turning and focusing on the rams. Primarily because the rams are going to be breaking down the door. Now here's something that happens that I don't necessarily agree with, and I actually voiced my concerns a couple of times. If you recall some of our explorations of Valley Keep, you'll know it's got several approaches to it. Right now the group here at the gate is preparing to split off and head back towards the wall that was being destroyed by the siege weapons on Langer Gulch. If you remember the map, taking down this gate gets you directly into the main part of the keep without having to go through another gate or another wall. What we do here is, once the walls on the outer areas of the Valley Keep start going down, is we actually move from this front gate and head towards the side wall. Now, where I differ in opinion on this is primarily through my main theories of splitting forces, making two approaches, especially on the larger keeps, because then the defenders have to split their forces too. If you group everyone up in one location, then that gives the defenders a place to focus all their attention on, rather than having to split between two approaches. Here, we should have kept half the group banging down the gate, since we had at least 2 rams up, which means we would have gotten those gates down pretty quickly, while a second group heads in through the wall on the side. And as you'll see in part 2 of this video, I wanted to kind of split it up a bit. So, you know, you're not sitting here listening to the entire thing the whole time. As we begin our assault in earnest on the Valley Keep, as the wall collapses. And then you can still see there's a group attacking the front gate. But if I'm not mistaken, yep, as soon as the wall goes down, they start moving towards the wall. As you'll see in the future episode, I see part 2 of this, it really, really takes us a long time to bring that gate down. Mainly because, as I said, the enemy is able to focus fire us. As you can see, we're actually literally being focus fired. Yeah, that was a good pun. I like that pun. And I'm focus firing on them. Mostly the guards, but there's a couple players sprinkled in there. But as we make our approach up towards the side gate, or I guess you consider it the southern gate, because it's kind of angled weird, so southwest gate? Yeah, we'll go with southwest gate. Taking out the defenders, and the other thing you'll remember, and the other reason why we should have kept focusing on the gate too, and I'm open to alternative theories on this, because that's what this is about. It's about discussing strategies and tactics. No, remember, no one strategy or tactic is perfect for every situation. These are just my theories on in retrospect of what happened here. The front gate, the other reason we should have focused on is because we had already taken down all the defenses. We had taken down the cannons, we had taken down the oil, we had taken down the guards. We were in a good position with rams and such. This was basically bringing us back down to square one, which was not the best tactical decision we probably could have made. And as you can see evidenced here, another thing you're going to want to do when you're doing this is res people. Because depending on the current state of the zone, and who's in all that much control of it, you may have an extremely long walk ahead of you heading back to where the attack is. But as you can see, we've got baddies up on the upper level. They've got all their weaponry back. I'm trying to buff people, it's absolute chaos. But we will continue this siege in part 2. So until part 2, my friends, game on, and take care, as always.